we're solving for b, so we have to move all the variables to one side first. So we subtract by 3b on both sides, and we're left with 12 plus 7 is equal to 2b plus 11. And then we have to simplify, so 19 is equal to 2b plus 11, and then we subtract 11 from both sides to isolate the variable. So if 8 is equal to 2b, b is equal to 4 after we divide by 2 on both sides. Okay, so we have b is equal to 4, and that's our answer for problem 6. Now we're going to move on to problem 7. It reads, a heptadecagon is a 17-sided polygon. If a regular heptadecagon has a perimeter of 306 centimeters, what is its side length? So unsurprised you enjoyed your problem yourself. As always, before we go over the solution. You've done it, that's great. Now we'll go over the solution. So as you see here, we have a 17-sided polygon, so that means it has 17 sides, and it's regular. That's the key for this problem. If a polygon is regular, that means all the sides are the same. So if you have a pentagon that's regular, all 5 sides are the same. And it has a perimeter of 306. So to find the side length, all we have to do is divide by 17. Divide the perimeter by 17, and then we can find the length of each side. And we can do long division. And we get 18 centimeters is each side length. So we have 17 sides that have a side length of 18 centimeters each. Okay, so the answer is 18 centimeters. Now we're going to move on to problem 8. It reads, Vinny is ordering a 2-topping pizza, and the table shows the 3 choices of meats and 5 choices of vegetable toppings offered. How many different combinations of 1 meat topping and 1 vegetable topping are there? So this is a pretty, I want to apply the try to part myself, as always, before we go over the solution. You've done it? That's great. Now we'll go over the solution. So this is a pretty self-explanatory problem, and it's asking how many different combinations of 1 meat topping and 1 vegetable topping are there. So 1 meat topping, there's 3 meats to choose from. Pepperoni, sausage, and bacon. So there's 3 choices for the first, to choose from the meats. And then we have to choose 1 vegetable. There are 5 choices of vegetables because there's olives, onions, peppers, spinach, and tomatoes. So there's 3 times 5 possible choices for 1 meat topping and 1 vegetarian topping. So the answer is 15. Now we're going to move on to problem 9. It reads, the number 5 square root 2 is the square root of which positive integer? So again, pause the video and do it yourself first before we go over the solution. You've done it, that's great. Now we'll go over the solution. So we can set the positive integer as x, and it's saying that the square root of x is 5 square root 2. 5 square root 2. Okay, so again, let's see if you read the problem correctly. The positive integer x is, so 5 square root 2 is the square root of x. Okay, that's correct. Now, to solve, all we have to do is square both sides, and we get 50 as our answer as x. Pretty simple. Okay, now we're going to move on to problem 10. It reads, Mr. Jarez can type 84 words per minute. How many words can Mr. Jarez type in 2 minutes and 30 seconds? So again, pause the video, do yourself. All right, now we're going to go over the solution. So let me grab my pen. 84 words per minute is what he can type. And he can, it's asking for how many words can he type in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So this is a pretty simple ratio problem. 2 minutes and 30 seconds, 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And this is a pretty simple ratio problem. We can do it both ways, a couple ways, but I'm going to set a ratio so it looks, so it's simpler. So 84 words per 1 minute. And we're trying to find how many words he can type, which is x words in 2 minutes we can write 30 seconds as a decimal, so 2.5 minutes. And again, we can cross multiply. You can solve this ratio as any way you like, but we can see that it's multiplying by 2.5, so we can multiply the top by 2.5 and we'll find x. And x will be, I also need to do the calculations right here, 210 words per minute. Words per 210 words every 2.5 minutes. So that's the answer, 210 words. Okay, now we're going to move on to problem 11. It reads, this year there are 750 students enrolled at Blake Middle School. This is an increase of 25% compared to last year. How many students were enrolled at Blake Middle School last year? So again, pause the video if you want to do the problem yourself before we go for the solution. You've done it, that's great. Now go for the solution. So as you see here, we have 750 students enrolled at Blake Middle School, and that's a 25% increase, 25% increase compared to last year. And it's asking how many students were enrolled last year. So we can set that as x. X is the number of students enrolled at Blake Middle School last year. And since there's 750 is a 25% increase, we know that 5/4 of x is equal to 750. The reason why is 25% increase, that means it's 125% of x, or 5/4 of x. Okay, so we can solve. We multiply by 4 on both sides, and we divide by 5 on both sides, and we'll get x is equal to 600. That's the answer. Now we're going to move on to problem 12. The problem reads, if 5 zips is equal to 4 squawks and 3 squawks is equal to 5 bangs, how many zips equal 12 bangs? So once again, pause the video if you like, and now we're going to move on to the solution. So as you see here, we can write equations for this. So 5 zips equals to 4 squawks, 3 squawks is equal to 5 bangs, and we're wondering how many zips are equal to 12 bangs. Okay, so once again, zips for Z, squawks for S, and bangs for B. Okay, so I'm just using their first letter for their variable. Okay, so we're going to start with what we don't know. And what we don't know is how many zips are equal to 12 Bs. And where are Bs in the equations? B's are over here. So we have 5b is equal to 3s. And what can we do to this equation to get 12b's? Well, we can multiply this equation by 12 over 5. Multiply this equation by 12 over 5, and we get 12b's are equal to 36 s's and over 5. Okay, but we're not looking for squawks. How many squawks are equal to 12 bangs? We're looking for how many zips are equal to 12 bangs. And now we move to the first equation. And what can we multiply by the equation to get 36s over 5? And we multiply by 9 over 5 to get that. Okay, so we multiply the first equation by 9 over 5, and we'll get 36 over 5s is equal to 45 over 5z, and that's just 9z equal 36 over 5s. And now we went full circle. So it's asking, so we have 12b's, and 12b's is just equal to 36s over 5, and 36s over 5 is just equal to 9z. So we found it. 9z is equal to 12b. That's your answer. 9 zips is equal to 12 bangs. Okay, now we're going to move on to problem 13. The problem reads, if the degree measures of the angles of a triangle can be expressed as x, 3x minus 10, and x minus 10, what is the measure of the largest angle? Once again, pause the video if you like, and now we're going to move on to the solution. Okay, so as you see here, we have a triangle, and we have all the degree measures. And this makes our lives much simpler. Okay, so we know that the degree measures of a triangle, all the angle measures of a triangle have to equal 180. So 180 is equal to all the angle measures. So we can just add up all the angle measures and we can find x. Okay, so this is our equation we're working with right here. And we can add 20 on both sides, and we can simplify. So 2x, 5x. So 5x is equal to 200. That means x is equal to 40 by divided by 5 on both sides. And now it's asking for the measure of the largest angle. So we can find all the angles, 40, 110, by just substituting in, and 30. And once again, we can check our answers as well. 40 plus 30 is equal to 70. 70 plus 110 is equal to 180. So we did it correctly. And it's asking for the largest angle, and that's just 110 degrees. That's your answer. Now we're going to move on to problem 14. It reads, Tiffany is a stylist at a salon that specializes in hair braiding. It takes Tiffany 15 minutes to complete 2 rows of box braids. At this rate, how many hours will it take Tiffany to complete a hairstyle that consists of 42 rows of box braids? Express your answer as a mixed number. So once again, pause the video if you like, and now we're going to go for the solution. So as you see here, it takes her 15 minutes to complete 2 rows. And it's asking how many hours will it take her to complete 42 rows. And we can think of this 15 minutes for 2 rows as an interval. It will take her 21 intervals to complete 42 rows. So it will take her 21 times 15 minutes for each interval to complete 42 rows. Again, another ratio problem, basically. And it's asking how many hours will it take. We have it in minutes. So we have to divide by 60 because there are 60 minutes in an hour. And we see that it will take her 21 over 4 hours, or 5 and 1/4 hours, as expressed in a mixed number. So that's your answer. Now we're going to move on to problem 15, the last problem. If you stick along, now we're going to move on to the last problem, problem 15. The problem reads, the area of a rectangle is 24 inches squared. If the length of the rectangle is 1.5 times its width, what is the rectangle's perimeter? So once again, pause the video if you want, and now we're going to go and check out the solution. So we have a rectangle right here, and its area is 24 inches squared. And it's saying that the length of the rectangle is 1.5 times its width. So if we name the width as y, the length is 1.5 times of it. So 1.5 y is its length. And we can quickly solve for its width by just multiplying, and we already know the area as well. So 1.5 times y squared is equal to 24. And if you don't want to work with decimals, we can rewrite this as a fraction. So 3 over 2 y squared is equal to 24. Multiply by 2 on both sides, we have 48. Divide by 3, and we get 16, and y is equal to 4. So y is equal to 4, so its width is equal to 4. Its length is equal to 6, and it's asking for its parameter. Well, this problem has become much simpler. We can find its parameter by just adding up all the sides. And since it's a rectangle, the other 2 sides are corresponding to them. Okay, so 6 plus 6 plus 4 plus 4, and we have an answer, and it's 20 inches is its parameter.